Hey travel friends! In August, we did a fun sailing excursion while we were visiting the beautiful island of Santorini, Greece. The specific excursion title on TripAdvisor is Premium Small Group Catamaran Cruise with Barbecue and Open Bar. In this video, I'm going to give our honest review of this excursion after experiencing it for the first time, and I'll show you what we actually did compared to the online itinerary on TripAdvisor. While you guys are here, welcome. My name is Stoof. If you enjoy travel and nature-related content, please consider subscribing to our channel. Alright, so there are 3 things that could have improved for this to be the perfect excursion for us. And I'm going to talk about these things first because these are the first things that we experienced on the excursion. Keep in mind, you might have a different experience than us. So the first thing is that we thought we would be picked up not directly from our hotel via a vehicle because our hotel was located in Fira and no vehicles had access directly to our hotel. There's just a cobblestone pathway in front that people can walk on. It's about a 2 to 3 minute walk down to the vehicle traffic area, so we thought maybe we would get picked up there. I ended up reaching out to them on TripAdvisor's website, where then they reached back out to me via a message there and said, no, you need to actually walk to our office building, which is located only about a 5-minute walk away. I wish that would have been communicated to us before we arrived in Greece, just so that I knew where to meet them. So that's something for you to keep in mind if you are staying in Fira or an area of Santorini that does not have vehicle access and you're somewhat close to the Spiridakos Sailing Cruise office. You're probably going to be asked to meet at that office. I recommend reaching out to Spiridakos Sailing Cruises online through TripAdvisor or whatever you booked them through so that you can get that communication and understand where you're supposed to meet that morning so you're not stressed out trying to figure it out while you're on vacation. The next part of our excursion that sucked for us was getting from the office over to the boat. And this might not happen for you. You may be located in a hotel on the island where you just get picked up and then taken right to the port with no other stops. But for us, waiting at that office in the morning, we then took what felt like an hour trip from the office to get to the boat while we picked up other guests, waited for 15-20 minutes in their parking lot, stop at another place. All while this is happening, we're heading north when I thought we would be heading south to the port. The itinerary showed us leaving from the south end of the island and we were heading north, so that was making me a little concerned as well. I just wish that had been communicated to us before we got into the van. The next negative thing was just, in general, that itinerary didn't match up. So here's what the TripAdvisor itinerary looked like. We had 6 stops listed on that TripAdvisor itinerary. Like I mentioned, it has us leaving from the south end of the island, and we left from Ia, so northwest end of the island. So that kind of screwed everything up from the itinerary. We didn't start at Red Beach. We actually started at the volcano and the hot springs there. And instead of 6 stops, we only had 3 stops. They mentioned those other things as we were sailing past them, and the cruise director gave us like a nice talk about the history of things and the geology and what we were looking at, so he did a great job. And now let's gear more towards the positive side, because once we got on the boat and left from Ia, the staff made us feel very welcome on board. Everybody was very friendly, the other guests all had a great time, and we really enjoyed the cruise. As I mentioned, we departed from the Ia region of Santorini, so we drove down this ramp and then walked a short distance to where the boat was waiting for us in Amudi Bay. There is a public restroom facility there, so if you would like to use the restroom one more time before you have to use the small little restroom on the boat, that's your last chance to do so. Once we got onto the boat, everyone gathered in the central area near dining space, and we did a safety briefing with our guide. After that, we were shown a tour of the boat. They showed us where the restrooms are down below. They let us know where we could go hang out in any of these open lounge areas, and those netting spots where you can lay out on. They said that's only when the boat is stopped. We started heading south, where our first stop was Nea Kameni, the active volcanic island, central part of Santorini's big caldera. This island formed by a series of volcanic eruptions, and thermal activity from this volcano is still active today, as this island features mineral-rich hot springs that you can swim in. This was a relatively short stop for us, I'd say about 30-40 minutes tops. We were given a safety briefing before getting off the boat.
So always remember that whenever we swim on the volcanoes here, in both of them, we never touch the rocks.
Due to the mineral content in the water, he recommended not going into the water if you have metal or white swim garments, as they can get stained from the minerals in this area. We swam where the sea kind of meets up with the hot spring, so the water did feel a bit warmer. It wasn't cold, but it wasn't hot either. It was comfortable to swim in. As you get closer to the island, closer to that hot spring area, you start to get more of that rusty red, high mineral content colored water. After getting back on the boat, we started to sail in between Palea Kameni and Nea Kameni, where we continued heading south until we made it to our second stop at Mesa Pigadia Beach. This was our favorite stop of the trip. The water was relatively shallow here and very clear, so you could see the bottom. We could see lots of little different types of fish, and we got off and did some snorkeling and exploring around the boat area. This snorkel spot also happened to be our lunch spot, so they started up the barbecue. They had shrimp on the barbecue, and in addition to that, they had some pasta, some salad dishes, they had chicken, and some vegetables. And while I'm talking about food, let me talk about the drinks. So for drinks, this was open bar. They could bring you wine or beer, in addition to water and other non-alcoholic beverages if you were interested in that. All you had to do whenever you needed a new beverage was just kind of wave or say, hey, to the guide, and he would run into the kitchen and grab you a drink and then swap it out for the empty one in your hand. The guides were very attentive the whole time, so they would come around asking if you needed anything several times throughout the excursion. They also had fun music playing, like a mix of pop and house music playing on the boat. Depending on your guide and other guests on your cruise, you may be able to put in some requests for specific genres, because we did hear other genres of music playing on other boats near the snorkel spots. So after our second stop, we continued heading east, where our final stop was at Red Beach, just offshore. We could see all of the people on the beach, and you can see why Red Beach gets its name from those beautiful red rocky cliffs just beyond the beach. This snorkel spot was also very calm. The water was clear and pretty shallow. It was maybe 12 feet to the seafloor from where we were anchored. This stop was shorter than the lunch stop spot, but a little bit longer than our first stop, it felt like. And then after we all got back on the boat here, we continued heading east, southeast, until we made it to that final marina port area where we got off of the boat and ended our excursion with a ride in the vans back to the Spiridakos Sailing Cruises office. It was only about a 20-minute van ride to get from that final marina area to the Spiridakos Sailing Cruises office. So the itinerary time that they give you is about 5 hours listed on TripAdvisor. So we made it to the sailing cruise office at 9:40 a.m. and then we were back at that office off the boat at the end of the excursion by 4:15 p.m. So about a 6-hour day from the time you leave the office to make it back to the office. Overall, This was a positive experience. We had a wonderful time out on the boat. I can't speak highly enough of those guides on the boat. They were phenomenal, just explaining things to us as we're sailing by, being very attentive and caring and thoughtful for the guests that were on the boat. The only things that I really would ask for them to improve on are the communication with the guests prior to you getting onto that boat or making it to their office. I'm a very detail-oriented person, so I really enjoy seeing the itinerary and getting excited about what we're going to do and then expecting to follow that itinerary. So because things were a little different than what was listed on TripAdvisor, I was a little bummed out about that when we first departed the excursion. But looking back at our footage and our experience on the boat, we really had a fantastic time and it was a super fun day. I'm sure things can happen that cause them to change the itinerary from what we see online. And like I said, it was a great time. We still got to see everything and we really enjoyed ourselves. If you already booked this excursion and you wanted to get a glimpse of what to expect, I hope this video helped to prepare you for your upcoming excursion, and I hope it helps you to get excited about it because it is a beautiful island to observe from the sea. If you have questions about our experience on this Spiridakos sailing cruise, you can leave a comment under the video and I'll answer to the best of my knowledge. I have a link for this company's website and the TripAdvisor booking in the description under this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a wonderful day and happy travels!